Hello everyone, it's me Angelo Martin and welcome to another quickcast. Now in our previous episode we were looking at the different locations and where you can store your notes. Now in this episode we'll be looking at the different options in creating a note on your Mac, but also showing why there are more than one way in creating these notes. Now to create a new note, we simply click on the New Notes button within the toolbar of our notes, or we can go to the File menu item, click on New Note, or simply just hold down the Command key and press the N key on our keyboard, which will create a blank new note. I'll title this note as Episode 2. Now, besides creating a note in the conventional way, we can also create a note within another application. Now, to show a good example to this, I will go to my Safari browser and I'll click on the Share button, and within my Share sheet, I will click on the Notes button, which will in turn save the DigiCape website as a web link within either a new note or I can add it to an existing note. For now, I'll keep it as a new note and I'll title this as DigiCape website and I'll save it. Now, if I should return back to my notes, I'll see that there is my new note named DigiCape website with a web link in it. We can also create what they call quick notes. Now, quick notes is only available from macOS 12 Monterey or higher. And I'm currently on macOS 13 Ventura, which is also the current macOS version at this point in time. So now I can just go to the bottom right hand corner, and once I click, it will then create a blank quick note, which you can also see indicated on the sidebar. So I'll just title this as DigiCape and I'll put in the contact number and I'll just for now close it down. I don't actually need to keep my notes open for me to create or even access my quick notes. So what I'll do is I'll just close down all of my applications and I will just start or access my quick notes by going to the bottom right hand corner. Once I click, it will then access that previous quick note. Now you might be asking, what if I wanted to create new quick note without me going into the app and create a quick note? Then what we need to do is we can go back into our notes settings, and in our note settings we can untick the always resume last quick note tick box. And now if I should close down my quick notes again and I go to the bottom right hand corner, it will create a blank new quick note. But we can also create a quick note through another app like we did with our previous example. I will go back into my Safari browser and I will go into my history. I think I've accessed my DigiCape YouTube channel before, so let me go to this one over here. Now that I'm within the video, I can go back into my Share button, click on the Add to Quick Note. It will then add this website as a web link within a quick note. So this makes it ideal for information gathering. So one more thing that we need to look at within our notes is that we can also store confidential information into a note, as we can use the lock note feature. So say for instance, I'm just going to use the DigiCape website note and I want to put a lock onto that note. I can click on the lock button within my toolbar of notes, click on lock note. Now it's going to ask me to use the password, or I can even use the Touch ID if I have it set up and if my Mac does have the Touch ID technology. So if I just use the Touch ID, you will see that it will add the lock to the note. It's open at the moment. However, I can just click on the lock button again and say close all lock notes. Now for me to access that note or any lock note, I can either enter the password or again I can use the Touch ID, which will then open that note. Now say for instance you have forgotten the password and you now want to reset the password or even change it. You can do that within the note settings. And within our note settings, I can either choose a custom password for my lock notes, or I can even use the login password of my Mac. So for now, what I'll do is I'll just keep it on custom password. And at the bottom, I can change the password or reset the password. And at the same time, I've got also my Touch IDs turned on, which is quite handy for this purpose. For now, let's look at how we can change our password. So if I click on change password again, and I just say use password button, then what it will do is it will ask me to enter the old password and just put in a new password and verify. Now this is to change the old password to a new password if I do remember the old password. The other way is to, if I should click on change password again, and this time I use the Touch ID, it will be in a case where I don't know what the old password is. My Touch ID has verified that, and I can just put in a new password and verify it. So that is how handy the Touch ID becomes once it's turned on. Now say for instance, I want to reset the password in a different means. I can click on the reset password, which will then ask me to then reset it with using my Apple ID password. Now on resetting the password, I can use the login password of the Mac, or if I say not now, what it will do is it will lock the note, and let's just say I don't want to put in a password and I just say cancel. Then what it will do is it will only be able to unlock my notes by using the Touch ID. You will see that it says the set password. So for me to go beyond the Touch ID, which might be a problem to your other devices if you don't have Touch ID set up on your iPhone or your iPad. So it's important that we would then go and say set password, and then we can go back and say create a separate password or use the login password. I'll just click on create separate password and I will just add in a password. And keep in mind, your password hint is recommended, so I'll just put in old password and I will just click on set password, and there I've now got my password set up, and still I can use my Touch ID. For now, for this note, I will just remove that lock note, and now it's back to the way it was. Use password, I use my Touch ID, and there you can see the lock has now been totally removed. So guys, that is how we can create our different notes, also apply our lock notes for our confidential information. So stay tuned to the next episode. We'll be looking at all these features that I've showed on the Mac that we can also use on the iPad. So that's me, Angelo Martin. Hope you enjoyed this episode and see you in the next one. Bye bye now.